Morning, everybody. Good morning. What is going on? What is going on? Monday, December 29th at 8 a.m. Oh, cheers to everybody here. If you're here on a Monday morning at December 29th, the day after the Lakers play the Sacramento Kings, I'm going to call you, a loyal listener to the channel. Thank you very much for being here. Hope you guys are enjoying your morning. I'm sure for everybody, kind of a busy couple of days, holidays, traveling all over the place, wherever you guys are, whatever you're doing. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you guys joining the show and looking forward to hanging out with everybody here for about an hour today. About an hour. Probably about 9:01. We're going to get the hell out of here. Got a lot of topics I'm going to hit on. A lot of kind of a hectic couple of days around the Lakers. The sky was falling, everybody. The sky was falling. We got a lot of good stuff to get into. And like I said, hopefully everybody enjoyed a little bit of time off. I don't know. Is everybody back at work today? You guys tell me. You guys tell me. I mean, me, not that tough to just roll up the sleeves and put together an hour NBA Lakers show. I mean, I obviously enjoy doing this, but I can't. I don't understand. Are people working today? Are they people gone for the week? I don't know what's going out on the roads these next couple of days, but nonetheless, what do we got? New Year's coming up on Thursday. I was kind of thinking about going to the Rose Bowl game. Like, do I go now? I'm looking at the weather. It's raining all day on Thursday. I don't know what to do. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. Let me give everyone a quick rundown what we got going on for the show today. And what we got going on. Really, I'll kind of give you guys a schedule for the next week as well. Lakers got a game coming up tomorrow, so something to keep in mind. And then we'll go from there. So first off, let me just give everyone a heads up. Do the show today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. No show on Thursday. No show on Friday. So that's the plan. Kind of similar to what I did last week. I'll still do post-game shows, of course. And then I still found myself, I think I posted a video on Saturday. I posted a video. So I'll probably find myself posting videos just based off of whatever topics are out there. Here's what we got going on for the day today. We'll talk a little bit about just kind of the hectic couple of days around the Lakers since they lost against the Rockets. Guys, the sky was falling. I don't think I've ever seen it like that before. Lakers went on a 3-game losing streak. Austin Reaves obviously got injured. And the sky was absolutely falling. All right. Spend a little time on that, what the last couple of days have looked like, what we learned, and I think there's a couple things we could walk away with from what we've seen over these last couple of days and kind of some of the messaging from a national perspective, podcasts, things like that. I think there's a few things we could take away from the last couple of days. Luka and LeBron's responsibility. It's really, really tough for me to, listen to all the stories around the Lakers over these last couple of days and then see the Lakers win last night against the Sacramento Kings and everybody just say, everything's good now. That's it. Everybody's seen kumbaya. The Lakers are back. A lot of kind of chatter going on. I don't know how much substance the chatter has. We'll get into that. I'll tell you what I mean in regards to that. Nick Smith Jr., comes out yesterday. I want to compare Nick Smith Jr. to some of these other role players for the Lakers because he's one of the few role players that when he's got opportunities, he's made the best of it. And, unfortunately for the Lakers, I think they got a ton of guys that have not come through. I think we created our own expectations or they were first-round draft picks and just either haven't been available or just haven't delivered when they've had their opportunities. So we'll give Nick Smith Jr. some love and how he's kind of put himself in front of a lot of those other role players that you were hoping at one point were going to be a big part of the rotation for the Lakers. That has not been the case. I want to talk a little bit about the Reaves injury, just what a brutal loss that is for the Lakers. I was reading an article this morning where they're basically like, well, because he got injured, the chances of Austin Reaves going anywhere is now even less because Reaves is injured. I don't think that's the full story. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Lakers were going to keep Austin Reaves anyways. But again, unless there was this Giannis wanted out and just wanted to be a Los Angeles Laker, then that's a different conversation. But just how much this Reaves loss hurts the Lakers, we'll get into. Got a couple stories around the NBA. There was, I thought, an interesting article in the NBA projecting the rest of the season. And it projected the Lakers win total the rest of the way and who they'd be playing in the first round of the playoffs, which I think is interesting as well. So we'll get into that. We'll kind of look a little bit towards the future here based upon where we think the Lakers are going to end up. I'll do the weekend recap. And how good is the NFL? I mean, how good is the NFL? I didn't even get to watch a lot of these games yesterday, but the NFL was just phenomenal yesterday. They closed it out with a phenomenal Sunday night football game. A little bit tough to watch that one because of the Lakers and the Sacramento Kings, so I was getting ready to do the post-game show. And then tonight, Rams got a game as well. So we'll do a little weekend recap. We'll call it a day, and I appreciate everybody hanging out. Let's take a look at a couple of the comments before we get started. Good morning, Slee. Here's another one. The Kings are not the Rockets. You might have typed this in the post-game show yesterday, and don't think that I don't understand what you're talking about. The Kings are definitely not the Rockets. We got somebody else here. Bring on the 26-27 season. We'll take it from there. If I'm going to be honest with you, you might not be wrong. You might not be wrong. You know, I think if the expectation is, hey, I just want to enjoy Lakers basketball with Luka, what could be LeBron's final season, and I'll worry about competing for a championship down the road, then this comment might have a lot of truth to it. All right, Ocean Breeze throwing in a quote. A man asked why growth felt lonely. The truth was clear. Not everyone is meant to come with you. Ooh, phenomenal. That's good right there. Very, very good. All right, good morning. Good morning to you as well. Let's get a couple more in here. Carl, you know what? Carl, do me a favor. You don't like that quote? Come with a better quote. All right? Come with a better one. Bitching and complaining. All right? You got a better quote? Go find a better quote and get it in here. I like that quote. All right, let's get a couple more in here. Good morning, Slee. Any funny gym stories for us today? You know what's happening? I just want you guys to know that what's going on now is now when I go to the gym, I am thinking if there's anything that I can share with you guys. I just got one quick one, and this was about a week ago. I guess I'm saving it. My brother, if you're going to go and braid your hair and you're going to shave and you're going to do everything in front of the mirror for a solid 30 minutes, why don't you just throw a towel on? That's all. That's all I'm asking. Just throw a towel on. I don't need to see your ass. I just don't, I don't need to see everything in front of everybody. Nobody needs to see everything. Just get a towel, wrap it around that good old waist of yours, and continue doing everything you're doing. That's all. I'm not asking for much. It's, it's a public locker room. You're not at home. Some of these people, man, way too comfortable at the damn gym. Way too comfortable. All right, that's all I got. If I get anything else gym related, I'll let you guys know. Brother, just cover it all up and enjoy your afternoon. All right, let's get the show started here. Thank you all for being here. I want to run back a little bit to yesterday here real quick. I'm actually talking about the last couple of days. Braiding your hair naked in public. It's guys, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it's I can't understand it. I want to pull these people to the side and just have a full conversation with them and just say, hey, talk to me about it. Tell me how you were raised. Give me the background so I have a little bit better of an idea. All right, let's get the show started. Hectic couple of days around Lakers basketball. They lose the game to the Houston Rockets on Christmas. You guys tell me this, if this was for someone like me who's covering the team every single day, who's covered the Lakers now, this is my 10th season covering the Lakers. Proud to say that, hit that kind of milestone. 10th year covering the Lakers. I'm reacting every single day to the Lakers and, to the NBA as well. But obviously, predominantly the show and the channel is based around Lakers content and Lakers basketball. Thursday was just not a loss to the Houston Rockets. That was it. Thursday's loss, and then the couple days after Thursday's loss, oh my God, the sky was falling. I mean, every single conversation and topic and article and podcaster and this and that, the sky was freaking falling. National news would have, it was like the Lakers were eliminated from the playoffs against the Houston Rockets. It was a 3-game losing streak. Okay, I'm not telling you that the Lakers have been playing good basketball. They lost 6 of their last 10. Clearly, the Lakers got a long way to go in trying to become the team we're all hoping they would be. But damn, what a couple of just hectic days around the Lakers. Every article, every story, this player is this, that player is that. I get it. They have not been playing well. And maybe the reality is starting to kind of sink in that the Lakers are they're just not going to be championship threats based on the roster that they have and some of the personnel that they have. But my God, after that loss to the Rockets, the world was going to end. I did a post-game video. And by the way, I think for me as well, I could tell you, compared to other videos that I do, the amount of comments, how angry everybody was. So maybe this wasn't just a media thing. I think for fans, that kind of took a much different, that one hit harder than some other losses that the Lakers have had. Maybe everybody's home. They're, home for the holidays. People are upset at their family members and they just were going to take it out on the Lakers, whatever the case was, right? So next couple of days, it's about this, where Lakers are going to have a really, really uncomfortable practice. JJ Redick quotes basically calling out the team. And listen, one of the things that stood out to me, and I mentioned it, I said that there's only so many times you can call out the team, right? In a course of an 82-game season, I don't know how many different times. Is it 10 times you could call out your team in 82 games? Where the question just becomes, is that message going to start getting old? Is that message lose some of its power because you keep kind of repeating the same message? I don't have that answer for you, but there was the questioning the Lakers' effort, the uncomfortable practice that's coming. It's clips all over YouTube that showing LeBron, Luka's lack of defense. These are your leaders, all that stuff. And then the news comes out about Austin Reaves being out for a month. I mean, it was really, truly this pocket of from Thursday to about last night where there were so many stories that were coming out about the Lakers, obviously nothing positive. It's kind of a hectic couple of days. What did we learn through that entire process is what I guess is the question mark that I have here. And then Lakers obviously played a game last night, so I'll explain what I think we learned from last night. I think what we learned over these last 4 days is that the Lakers sell. I know that much. I know that if you put a Laker topic out there, I mean, tell me this. Let me ask everybody this question. I'm going to see if it's on the front of ESPN. On the front of ESPN, okay? You guys know what's going on in the NFL. There's a lot of storylines right now, just in general. And one of the top headlines on ESPN right now is LeBron Luka set the tone as Lakers right ship. Guys, a win over the Sacramento Kings last night should be the 47th headline on ESPN on the NBA section, let alone ESPN.com, where all the NFL stories are there and everything else. My point is that the Lakers get clicks. That's why they're going to get the conversation. That's why from Thursday to Sunday, there was so much chatter around the Lakers. I don't know if I learned anything about the team over this stretch. Let me give you an example. Lakers played the Kings last night. Dominated the Kings, right? Everybody flex your muscle. Lakers dominated the Sacramento Kings. What the hell did we learn last night? We didn't learn anything. You can't learn anything against the Sacramento Kings. I don't want to read all these articles about, Lakers they found their way back. LeBron and Luka were true leaders last night. Look at them on the defensive side and the responsibility that they took. And everybody was singing Kumbaya by the time the game was over last night. Come on. We didn't learn anything about last night. And frankly, I don't think we've learned all that much about this Lakers team over this stretch of the last, or maybe we've learned a lot, but what we've learned isn't necessarily positive. What we've learned is really what I think the numbers were already telling us. If you don't have a team that plays defense, you're not going to get very far. If you don't have depth, if you don't have role players that you can rely on, if your stars are awful on the defensive side, if one of your stars is about to turn 41 years old and you're depending on him, I think we learned more over the last 30 days than you could say over the last couple of days, where it seems like the sky's falling. The Lakers obviously have some glaring issues. Nobody's here to deny that. Nobody's questioning that the Lakers don't have these glaring issues. And I don't think anybody's really questioning that the Lakers can't be taken seriously because of everything that we're referring to. But the kumbaya stories after last night, and oh my gosh, that practice really got to everybody. It was the Sacramento Kings. So can we all kind of please just stop BSing each other in regards to that? Now, that doesn't mean that the Lakers were not desperate for a win last night. That doesn't mean that it wasn't important for the Lakers to beat the Kings last night and win all 4 quarters. It doesn't mean that the Lakers didn't need some momentum to go their way. Of course they did. I'm not denying that. But there's a little bit of a narrative I felt like in the last 12 hours that was, oh my gosh, it feels like Lakers are back on track. They didn't have a test yesterday. By the way, Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis, Zach LaVine. There's a lot of key players also missing for the Sacramento Kings. Second worst record in the Western Conference. One of the worst teams out there. I didn't learn jack shit about yesterday's game. But it also means that the Lakers needed a win and got a win. And I think that's the only thing that you could pay attention to and kind of put that game to the side yesterday. So both things can be true at the same time. The Lakers, you could have gone through an entire game and not really learned all that much, but at the same time, be really, really fortunate that the Lakers just won a game and can get that 3-game losing streak off. They improved their record to 20-10. They're 4th in the Western Conference, and they got a long way to go the rest of the season. So kind of a crazy couple of days. And I hadn't done, the first live show that I did, let's see, did I do first live show I did was yesterday. Last night was the first live show that I've done since I think my show on Wednesday morning. So I was putting out content, but I hadn't done anything live. And this morning, I just kind of wanted to recap. I wanted to go back and be like, what the hell were these last couple of days? Was it just me, or did it seem like A, the sky was falling, and then B, this morning, every article I was reading, it's like the Lakers figured it out. They didn't figure out anything. They played a really, really bad team and got a win that they needed. So both things can be true. All right. Cheers to you. Get to some of the comments here, and then we can go from there. And I'll kind of highlight a little bit more from the last couple of games as well, or the last couple of days. All right. JJ needs to quit running his starters into the ground. All right, what's he supposed to do then? Let's stay on JJ for a quick second, because what's JJ supposed to do when you're trying to juggle a couple of things at once? One of the things that you're trying to juggle is you want to just try to win games in the Western Conference and stay afloat until Austin Reaves comes back. And that, by the way, Austin Reaves ain't coming back anytime soon. We'll get into Reaves in just a little bit, but he is definitely not coming back anytime soon. Is he when Ayton comes out? By the way, you're also missing Jackson Hayes right now. You're also missing Gabe Vincent. You need those two players. I don't care. All those that want to bitch and complain about Gabe Vincent, I'm with you. I'm down to bitch and complain about Gabe, but they need those players right now, especially with some of the injuries that the Lakers have. It's not about running the starters into the ground. It's who can you go to on the bench and depend on. Nick Smith Jr. was phenomenal last night. You know what teams are going to start doing to Nick Smith Jr.? They're going to start paying a little bit more attention to him. And you're also not going to have a team as bad as the Sacramento Kings, where they're going to allow Nick Smith Jr. to get 21 points. The problem with the Lakers bench is there's nobody that you can really depend on. So driving the starters into the ground, I don't know what plan B is if he's not doing that. They need Rui. They need Marcus Smart. They need LeBron. They need Luka. They need Ayton. And at least for now, they're going to need these players. All right, let's get a couple more in here. I was honestly impressed they didn't blow the lead in the fourth and the bench got some minutes. Yeah, that was – I heard them talking about it. Billy Mack and Stu were spending a little bit of time on the broadcast where they're basically just mentioning, like, hey, this is the load management that we're talking about. This used to happen all the time back in the day. The Lakers just haven't had the luxury of doing that. And I'm with you. Guys didn't get big minutes, which was nice. But at the same time, I think we all kind of understand that that's just not a luxury that the Lakers have had over the years. All right, let's get a couple more comments here. Can DK ever get his confidence back in LA, or is a change of scenery the only path at this point? Well, I think this goes back to the question about, I think it goes back to the question of running your starters into the ground. Is anyone confident in Dalton Connect? You know why nobody is confident about Dalton Connect? Because Dalton Connect isn't confident in Dalton Connect. That's why. So I think to answer your question, I feel like we all have the answer to this question. I think everybody in their mind is saying to themselves, yeah, I got a pretty good idea of what Dalton Connect is. And I have a pretty good idea that in order for Dalton Connect to potentially be the player that he'd like to be in the NBA, I just have a difficult time thinking it's going to happen with the Lakers. I hope, I mean, that'd be great, but Dalton has created a tougher path for himself just because of how he's played when he's got some opportunities. All right, I'm going to look at one more comment here, and then we'll go on to the next topic. Need consistency and urgency. Too often the Lakers are looking like they don't care. Yeah, and I think that was part of the conversation that was, going on about their lack of effort, part of the conversation about the Houston Rockets. Go see some of those highlights against the Rockets. It was ugly. Now, I know Houston hits the glass. I know they're one of the best offensive rebounding teams. I know there's a lot of things that the Houston Rockets do well, but a lot of the reason why there was so much drama after Lakers lost to Houston, it was never a game. It was the third straight blowout. Another team that outworked the Lakers. Effort seemed to be a question. So, yeah, those are obviously part of the big issues for the Lakers right now, and will continue to be issues until the Lakers prove otherwise. So, obviously, that's going to continue to be one of the conversations. Shout out to Harris Resort SoCal. If you've never been to Harris and you live out here in Southern California, I strongly, strongly encourage you to go to the website, harrissocal.com, and just go take a look at what they got going on. Go take a look at what it looks like from different shows. That they got some badass comedians coming up here in the next 30 days or so. Go look at what it would cost to stay at Harris Resort SoCal. The beauty with a location in a resort like Harris SoCal, what I love about it is it's a staycation. You guys have heard that term before. So you don't have to go pay for a flight. You don't have to go rent a car. And next thing you know, before you even get to the destination that you want to go vacation at, the cost just keeps going up and up. You don't have to have that at Harris Resort SoCal. It's a beautiful property. It's a great, great place to get away from some of the hustle of Southern California. And you're probably within an hour to 2 hours from wherever you are in Southern California. It's located in North San Diego, the Palomar Mountains. It's absolutely beautiful. I've stayed there. I did a show there a couple of months ago, and I got some shows that I'm going to be coordinating with them to do from there as well. I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully an opportunity for me to hang out with some listeners as well, people that have been big fans of the channel. This is kind of part of a partnership that I'm doing with AM 570 and iHeart as well. So really excited about this partnership. If you're looking for a getaway, harrissocal.com, harrissocal.com. All right, I want to keep moving here. Let's keep moving here. I know a lot of people want to chime in, but let's move on to a couple of different topics. So I want to talk about the Stars here for a quick second. There were a lot of articles over these last couple of days really, really being very critical about the Lakers' stars. Well, Austin Reaves is out, so you can't really talk too much about him. So there's only two other stars to talk about: LeBron and Luka. And everything, a lot of the articles that I was reading or comments that I was reading on, it's crazy. I had over 500 comments after the Lakers lost to the Rockets on my video. Then I did another video, and it was more critical, or at least bringing up the question about LeBron. Hey, how much of this is on LeBron? Is he hurting the Lakers? This and that. Over 400 plus comments. And here's the only reason why I tell you guys that. People felt a certain way after that loss to the Rockets. and everybody wants to point a finger somewhere. And the two names that got brought up the most was Luka and LeBron. And if you guys remember some of the quotes that JJ Redick had, after the game, that it all kind of starts. I'm going to read a couple of quotes here because I was looking at them. He says, I really believe in getting back to basics and understanding the needs of the team and each guy, creating more clarity. I know, having played, that when it can seem very simple up there, it isn't simple once you're in real time and live action. Here's what he said. He wanted to go back to the defensive fundamentals. Since we've gotten Braun back, we haven't been as organized offensively. Too many random possessions. That's on me. It's those three things: defensive clarity, role clarity, and offensive organization. So then the question started coming up. Lakers right now, currently 26th in defensive in the league's defensive rating chart, while opponents shoot 48.6% from the field. You're not winning game. You're not going to get taken seriously if that's the case. But let me just play off of that real quick. I saw a lot of articles and a lot of videos out there isolating LeBron. Then I started reading a lot of podcasts and things like that, isolating Luka. What's the responsibility of these two players on a night in, night out basis for the Lakers? I think there's some things that they hold a lot of responsibility for. And then I think there's a piece of all this that's like, well, there's only, if you're asking for players to do something that they're not capable of doing, then I think you got a, whole bigger issue that the Lakers are going to have to figure out. So the responsibilities at this stage for LeBron and Luka. Here's one thing you can't have from your two stars. I think there's certain things that are very reasonable to ask for. And then I think there's things that are just, you're going to be banging your head against the wall if you think either one of these players are going to become something over this next couple of months. Here's what both of those players are responsible for. Both of those players got to lead the Lakers. And when I say lead, I'm not even referring to what they do on the floor. They got to be leaders. They got experience. They are the superstars. They have to show on the court, off the court. They got to be the head of the snake. And, LeBron has that responsibility still. Luka's clearly 26 years old, the future of the Lakers. He's got that responsibility. Both of these guys have control of being leaders, teaching the guys what they need to do, holding everybody accountable and responsible. There is kind of simple things like that those two guys are responsible for. Okay, now we get on the basketball floor. There are certain things that you can ask from LeBron and Luka that if they do it, there will be a trickle-down effect for the rest of the team, the rest of the roster, and there's going to be no excuses. One thing you can't have is Luka might not be the best defender in the world. I think we all know that. But what Luka can't do is take plays off and show to the rest of the team, well, I'm they didn't ask me to come here and play defense. They asked me to come here and just be a 26-year-old stud. I'm a top 5 player in the NBA. I'm one of the best offensive players in the league and in the history of the NBA with everything that he's able to do. I take some plays off on the defensive side. It is what it is. Or I throw some turnovers. Yeah, nobody's going to say anything to me anyways. I get a couple of technical fouls. It is what it is. No problem. If you're LeBron, I get LeBron's age. He's 40, 41 years old. LeBron is also in a position where, okay, I got to at least do the bare basics on defense. What I can't do is leak out on a play and think we're going to go on a fast break the other way and then not box out Alfred Sengun and just take some plays off or not move on the defensive side of the ball. I got to at least show that I'm engaged, I'm talking, we're communicating. There's certain things that LeBron and Luka are going to have to do as leaders of this team that they're responsible for, and I think that I don't think are unreasonable. There are also things that if you're expecting from LeBron and Luka, then I think it's just going to be a long rest of the season. If you think Luka's all of a sudden going to become this defensive machine, I don't know what to tell you. He's not going to be. There's certain things I think Luka can be responsible for, and I think certain things that Luka could embrace, could set an example on, and there's other things I think Luka it's not in his arsenal. It ain't happening. If anybody thinks Luka's going to start becoming a defensive player, it ain't happening. If anybody thinks Luka's going to start sliding his feet better and really kind of start locking down on the defensive end, it ain't happening. This is why when he was in Dallas, they were so specific in how they built around Luka. And the Lakers haven't had a chance yet to do that. And that's going to be up to the front office and their responsibility to figure out what that looks like. It just ain't happening this year. And I don't think it can happen with LeBron on your team. And I also think it's not happening this year because to do a full rebuild around one player who's 26 years old and is going to be the franchise or the face of your franchise, you just can't do that with a 41-year-old. You just can't do that. But that's okay. This is the circumstance the Lakers are in, and they'll obviously try to figure it out as they go. Okay, that's the Luka piece of it. So everybody that's, bitching and complaining about Luka on the defensive side, you have every right to bitch and complain about it. What I'm here to just tell you is it ain't changing. That's Luka. On the other side with LeBron, for all those that want to complain about LeBron and want to treat LeBron like he's 35, he's not. He is about to be 41. The biggest problem that the Lakers have right now is you were hoping this season that as the season progressed and guys like Ayton played a little bit better, Rui took a little bit more responsibility. I remember during media day, Rui was explaining that they want him to be more aggressive. They want him to be there was a certain role they wanted Rui Hachimura. Guys, this is who he is. He's up, he's down. There's games he's going to have 16 points and shoot 8 of 10 from the field. There's going to be games like he had against the Rockets where he put up a goose egg, didn't have a point. The ideal situation for LeBron was always you didn't have to depend on him night in, night out because of his age. LeBron probably in his mind, there's a lot he wants to do, but his body won't allow him to do it. If you think LeBron all of a sudden is going to become the player that he was 5-6 years ago, it ain't happening. So I think the responsibility for LeBron and Luka, they hold a lot of responsibility. I think that they can send a certain message to the rest of the team. I think they could be the leaders that they're supposed to be. I think they could communicate like crazy. I think they could both show better effort on the defensive side of the ball. But I think if you're asking for them to be something that they're not, you're going to be wildly disappointed. So I wanted to take a second to talk about LeBron and Luka, because I do think the last few days there has been a lot made about these two players, which I think is fair. I don't think they give maximum effort on the defensive side. I do think it feels like there's a disconnect on the team. I do feel like there are plays that both guys will take off on the defensive side, but all of a sudden on offense, they got all the energy in the world. But I think there's some things that they're responsible for and they could take control of. And I think there's other things that if you're waiting for it to happen with either one of these players, I got a difficult time thinking that it's going to happen. All right, let's take a look at some of the comments, and I appreciate you guys hanging out and taking a listen to a little bit of a rant there in regards to Luka and regards to LeBron. Let's see what we got here. LeBron cries for help every year. I don't know if he cries for help or he just puts pressure on franchises and organizations to put together the most competitive team to try to win. Wants to win. I'd rather have a star that wants to win than a star that's completely okay knowing that he's not going to compete for a championship. All right, let's take a look at a couple more of these. Scapegoating LeBron is not going to help Luka. Yeah, I don't think there's a scapegoating of LeBron. I think it's just honest conversations. I think LeBron has. I did a whole video on this, and this is genuinely how I feel in regards to the LeBron conversation. I think you're already losing if you're asking LeBron to be the second best player on your team, and now LeBron's got to be the second best player on the team. The hope would be that Ayton in a contract year It's like, no, 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 no. You can go to Ayton more. Ayton's a guy that you can rely on. Jake LaRavia is a guy that you could rely on. Marcus Smart's going back to what he looked like with the Boston Celtics. Rui Hachimura is a big piece, and then Luka's an MVP caliber player. And I'm saying all this without Austin Reaves because Austin Reaves is not there. Well, they don't have that luxury anymore. And LeBron is still good enough to where he can be relied upon, but it's not going to become a luxury anymore. It's going to be more of a necessity. That ain't scapegoating LeBron. No. LeBron's, if you're on the floor and, I also don't think the Lakers I don't think they owe LeBron anything. I think if LeBron's having a bad day or he's not playing well, you got to look down at the rest of that bench and say, all right, is there somebody else that can play good tonight? Problem is the Lakers are just so thin. I don't think they have an answer on the bench or another role player. That's not scapegoating. We're just being honest. LeBron is complaining while taking up 1/3 of the Lakers' salary cap and 2 roster spots. That LeBron's fault, or is that the Lakers' front office? Which one? Which one? Is it again, like I go back to what I just said. Is it LeBron's fault to take $52 million from the Lakers? I don't know if that's LeBron's fault. Maybe if you want to say, all right, well, if he would have took less money, another player would have come. You could make that argument. This shit looks like the Rockets with Harden, ISO ball and ISO ball shoot bad threes. I hate ISO basketball. I genuinely hate isolation basketball. I do. I think there's certain teams in the NBA. I talked about it. I think after they lost to the Rockets, I said that Lakers are so predictable on the offensive side of the ball. Watching Luka dribble out a shot clock or watching LeBron dribble out a shot clock, the ball doesn't move. Yes, I get it. Guys are going to get great stats, but from a team perspective, I think it's an awful watch. And I think there's a lot of players that also who are not getting involved offensively, that it does have an effect on how they play defensively as well. You just don't seem like you're as involved and as connected. So I'm not a fan of ISO ball, and we'll have to go from there. Luka will never blow by opponents no matter how much weight he loses. Luka still finds a way to get to the basket. I mean, I'm not worried about Luka getting to the basket. Luka is not that good. Okay. All right. Got some people going at Luka. I will say this. For Luka's game, his style and the way he plays, he needs everything to be perfect around him. Dallas got to the NBA Finals, lost in the NBA Finals because the roster had some of its own imperfections, and Boston, I think, was just ready to win by that point. They've been kind of knocking on the door now for a number of years. But they had everything around Luka, plus Kyrie Irving, plus bigs, plus defensive players, plus 3-and-D guys that couldn't win a championship. So it also shows that you're going to have, obviously a number of guys, that fit around Luka in order to put together a championship roster, especially in the West. Guys, look at the Western Conference right now, too. San Antonio ain't going anywhere. OKC isn't going anywhere. Denver for the next couple of years is not going anywhere. And then question is, are other teams, is Minnesota going to go make a move? Is Phoenix going to go make a move? Are there some opportunities for some of these other teams that are kind of on the fridge, on the outside looking in? Is there ways for them to get better? Houston will be a headache for the next at least year or two. All right. Lakers are judged against 6 teams in the West: OKC, Spurs, Houston, Phoenix, Minnesota, Denver. Your thoughts? I agree. That's why, a game like yesterday, I literally have it in my notes here. No, what did I take here? I took from, there was an article out there. Let me see if I grabbed it or not. I want to see if I grabbed it. I don't think I did. There was an article out there that was, honestly, it was just giving way too much praise to Lakers winning yesterday. And, that's why I've said, I don't think we learned anything from last night's game, but that's okay. They needed a win. They were desperate for a win. They had to have a win, and they got that win, and you kind of grab it and you move on. But this is why they're judged against the 6 teams that you're talking about. OKC and the San Antonio Spurs could be the 2 best teams in the West. Houston is a team that you could face in the playoffs. Denver, definitely a team that you could face in the playoffs, and they're a champion. They got champions littered all over their roster and their team. Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, Bruce Brown. They got guys that have been there. They've done it. They'll be ready for the playoffs. Minnesota beat you last season in 5 games. So if you match up against them, naturally, you're just going to kind of look at what happened last year. And then I think the last team you have on here is Phoenix, which has been really kind of a fun matchup so far this year. Phoenix has taken 2 of the first 3 games against you. Probably not likely Lakers and the Suns face each other in the playoffs. Probably not likely Lakers and Minnesota face each other in the playoffs. But OKC, Spurs, Houston, and Denver, that could definitely happen. So I do agree with this, that the Lakers are judged by those teams. No question about it. Okay, I want to talk Nick Smith Jr. for a quick second, and then I want to talk about Austin Reaves. So we'll do that. Before we do, we're going to give love to one of our partners here, Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm, injury attorney that can help anybody that's in the state of California. You got something happen to you. I've had people hit me up on Instagram. I've had people obviously reach out directly to Brad Wallace. A lot of people they're asking questions. Hey, I'm not sure if Brad can help me out here. What you took the right step of at least asking the question. You've been in a serious injury, a family member, a friend's been in a serious injury, a wrongful death case. Then just go to the website, wallacewins.com/Sliwa, wallacewins.com/Sliwa. It's very, very simple. I know a lot of you that are listening here, not everyone is going to need an injury attorney. I hope you never need an injury attorney, but things could happen in life. And if they do, then you should just know that you have somebody that can guide you, that could point you in the right direction. He's a big supporter of the channel and the show. He's a big Laker fan. So I just want to emphasize all of that as we have the discussion. I appreciate you guys supporting our partners, and Brad Wallace, certainly one of our most loyal partners on the channel. wallacewins.com/Sliwa, wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Okay, let's get into another topic here. Let me just do this real quick on Nick Smith Jr., and then I want to talk about the Reaves injury and the impact that injury is going to have, and we'll go from there. Nick Smith Jr., you know what's crazy about him, and I think what I'm referring to more, and I'm not telling you Nick Smith Jr. is doing this every game, but if I said, who do you have more confidence in? And this could be playing or this could be in their play or just their availability. If I said Nick Smith Jr. or Dalton Connect, who do you got more confidence in? If you're saying Dalton Connect, then I don't know what the hell you're talking about. What you should be saying is, yeah, Al, you're right. I got more confidence in Nick Smith Jr. Okay. What if I said Nick Smith Jr. or Gabe Vincent? Well, I'll tell you this much. I'll tell you that Nick Smith Jr. is available much more often than Gabe Vincent is. So from that perspective, I'd lean towards Nick Smith Jr. Nick Smith Jr. has also had games so far in the regular season when the Lakers have called his number. I'm not telling you the guy's perfect, but what I will tell you is he looks comfortable. He looks confident. He's definitely a guy that could go out and at least get you double digits in scoring. And I can't remember the last time Gabe Vincent was able to do that for the Lakers. So far when I mentioned when I mentioned Nick Smith Jr., and I'm just comparing him to some of the different role players on the Lakers, definitely more reliable than Dalton Connect, more available than Gabe Vincent. I'd say more confident than Jake LaRavia. Probably sometimes more confident than Rui Hachimura. What I'm referring to here is if you look at some of the Lakers role players, he's out playing a lot of these role players, and he's not even getting that many opportunities. It's been impressive. Last night, seeing him drop 21, he kind of played a little bit more of an Austin Reaves role, even though he does not need the ball like Austin Reaves needs it. And like I said, I know what teams are going to do. Obviously, teams are going to start game planning a little bit better around Nick Smith Jr. They're going to say, okay, cool. This he's young, he's talented, he's got some potential, he's got some opportunity. Let's pay attention to him. And teams will do a better job defending him. And Sacramento is not a good example. But I also want to give this guy credit. I mean, it's just it's impressive what he's been able to do. And hopefully he can keep doing it, because without Austin Reaves, obviously the Lakers are going to be desperate for a player or for players either in the starting lineup or off the Lakers bench to come in and do a little bit of work and roll up their sleeves. So Nick Smith Jr. Comes in yesterday. This is the one thing that I love watching with some of these, NBA players. There's some guys that they just don't care about the situation. They just don't care about the moment. They just don't care about the bright lights. And then there's other people where that really, really affects them. That does not affect Nick Smith Jr. Nick Smith Jr. is not looking at many shots and churning them down. Nick Smith Jr. is taking the challenge. Sure, I don't care who's in front of me. I'll try to drive the ball, try to get to the basket. I'll take a step back three. So if the guy has one thing, he's got a ton of confidence, and that I think you can respect, especially when you look at some of these other players where it looks like their confidence is lacking. So Nick Smith Jr. was phenomenal in yesterday's game, and we'll see what he's able to do. Lakers, I'm sure, will lean on him more and more now that Austin Reaves isn't there, and now we'll obviously see if he's able to come through for the Lakers more and more as well. All right, let's talk about the Reaves injury for a quick second. Man, that's a brutal injury. You knew on Thursday when Reaves couldn't come back for the second half, I'm like, yeah, this is a problem. You just knew that this was going to be a problem. And I'll kind of do this one way. I'll talk about what it means right now for the Lakers, and what it means kind of a little bit more from a future perspective with Austin Reaves. But this is what the Lakers are losing in Reaves. They're losing their second best player. This is my opinion. If you guys still think LeBron's the second best player on this team, that's fine. But I think they're missing their second best player. They're missing an all-star. I mean, that's how good Austin Reaves had been for the Lakers, how reliable he's been, how much he's come through. 26.5 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, and it looked like he was about to get his first all-star berth. And he just hasn't looked good over the last couple of weeks. Why hasn't he looked good? He's got that left calf strain that he was dealing with, or the grade 2 strain now, and he's not going to be, or he's going to be reevaluated in 4 weeks. We're probably not going to get Austin Reaves back until we're into the month of February. So that's how long it's going to be for Austin Reaves to come back. And unfortunately for the Lakers, when you saw that he was missing in the second half against the Houston Rockets, instantly you just knew, I'm like, all right, well, this is going to be a problem. Because you don't go missing 3 games, come back for 1 game, and then play a half against the Rockets on Christmas, and then you're not available after that. You knew something was wrong. So it just really, really is going to be a tough. Lakers already don't have depth. It forces now bench players to have to step up. It just changes everything for the Lakers. They'll get some new looks. Yesterday there was a lot of conversation last night about how the Lakers were going to kind of stagger the minutes of LeBron and Luka. Instead of Luka playing the first quarter and then not coming back in second quarter with 6 minutes left to go, now Luka's playing 9 minutes, out for the final 3 minutes, out for the first 3 minutes of the second quarter. It's going to give LeBron some opportunities to run the team, Luka some opportunities to run the team, and Lakers will try to do as best as they can to figure it out, and maybe they find some things, but you cannot deny how good Austin Reaves has been for the Lakers. And whether you want to keep Austin Reaves long-term or you want to trade Austin Reaves, whatever camp that you're on, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. Reaves is a Laker right now, and the Lakers are definitely not as good of a team without Austin Reaves. I saw an article that I think was a little dramatic. Austin Reaves' future with the Lakers may have just been decided. This was on Lake Show Life. Basically, what the article was saying, that the fact that he's traded, the fact that he's injured probably makes it less likely that the Lakers trade him before the deadline. I don't know how much impact that has. I think the Lakers were not going to be trading him anyways. Now, what happens in the offseason, I'm not 100% sure. What players are available? Is there a team that comes all in and says, we want Austin Reaves and we want to pay him, whatever the case is? That can happen as well. So we'll kind of have to wait and see what happens in regards to that. But I don't think his injury is going to be the reason why he's a Laker past the trade deadline. I think his injury has nothing to do with that. I think the Lakers want to give Austin Reaves a chance to grow with Luka, want to give him the contract, whatever that contract looks like, in the offseason, and then they'll kind of recalibrate from there and see if obviously it makes sense for a long-term perspective and get LeBron's money off the books and go try to target other players. So I don't think this injury is going to have an impact on the trade deadline. I just think this injury is going to have a tremendous effect on the Lakers until he comes back. So whether he's out for 15 games, 20 games, whether he's out for 4 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever the case is, this is a very, very tough pill to swallow if you're the Lakers and losing Austin Reaves. All right, we'll take a look at some of the comments here, and then we'll start getting into some NBA news as well. And like I said, there's an interesting article about projecting the rest of the way, and I want to talk about where ESPN's projecting the Lakers the rest of the way. Okay, let's scroll down here. A lot of people talking. All right. No other team wants the Lakers trio of losers. AR, Rui, and Gabe. Well, I disagree with you on a couple of those. I think Gabe Vincent has demolished his own value around the league just because he's not been available. That's number one. I think Rui has value in the NBA. And how much value? I'm not sure. But I think Rui has value in the NBA as a role player. And I think AR has a tremendous amount of value. The question with Austin Reaves is I think the Lakers also value him very much and are not going to trade him for anything other than what they feel like is an all-star in return. Reaves is a certified sixth man. Could be. I mean, listen, I think in a perfect world and your team is stacked, yeah, I think Reaves could come off the bench and do big things for you. On this Lakers team, he's the second best player on the team. So, I mean, you can look at it any way that you want, but at the end of the day, this team just doesn't have enough talent to say Reaves is a sixth man. They just don't. They don't have enough consistent talent. Let's get a couple more here. AR will score 50. When was the last time LeBron scored 50? Well, I think the beauty is you don't have to compare the two players. I do think that I don't think you have to kind of compare both of these guys against each other. They're both on the same team. And LeBron's 41. I think 41 tomorrow, by the way. I think 41 tomorrow. Slee, how many teams do you think are interested in Austin Reaves? Rich Paul says he's a bench player. I think what Austin Reaves was saying with Kellerman, or I'm sorry, I think what Rich Paul was saying with Kellerman. By the way, I listened to one of their full podcasts that they had. The other ones were just clips. I listened to a full podcast they had. It might have been like Wednesday last week. I can't remember what day it was. It's a good podcast. Rich Paul, much more personable. I like listening to Rich Paul in a long format. Like I think my view of Rich Paul changed. I think he just seemed much more down to earth than the perception that I had of Rich Paul, because I don't think I've listened to Rich Paul for 1 hour straight. And Kellerman, I don't even have to talk about. I think he's one of the best in the business. You guys have heard me say that before, but I actually found it a very enjoyable listen. They were a little all over the place with the topics, but that's okay. That's kind of like, that's a podcast form. The conversation is just kind of going to go wherever it goes. How many teams do you think are interested in Austin Reaves? I think what Rich Paul and Kellerman were saying was, if Austin Reaves is coming off of your bench as a sixth man on a championship team and a championship roster, then you got a squad. But he's not going to come off the Lakers bench because they don't have a championship squad or a championship roster. So I think you could say, hey, it would be great for Austin Reaves to come off the Lakers bench. Okay. Tell me the 4 other players that are better than Austin Reaves and the players that are, role play. Just kind of look at the Lakers team from a totality perspective. Austin Reaves has to start. Why does he have to start? He has to start because the Lakers don't have enough talent for him to come off the bench. It's not a luxury for the Lakers. They got to have Austin Reaves. Unfortunately for the Lakers, they're not going to have him here for a while, so it's not going to be part of the conversation for a little bit. Let's get this one here. Reaves only shined versus those mid to trash teams. Thank you for the super, brother. Appreciate you throwing in that super. Maybe there's just a lot more Laker fans that just, don't like Austin Reaves' game, and that's something that I'm just going to have to accept. That's fine. I mean, obviously people can have their opinion on it. I do value his game, and I do question him and Luka together. So I think that's the best way that I can put it. I have my doubts that Luka and AR can lead a team to an NBA championship. Of course I do. I don't believe that they can. I think you need a lot more talent around the team. But I do think if Austin Reaves is the third best player on your team, I think you got a chance, real good chance of competing for a chip. Now the question is, how do the Lakers get the second best player on their team? And how are they able to do that? And I don't have that answer for you. But I get the vibe from a lot of Laker fans that I don't think they care as much about Austin Reaves, or maybe it's just the match with Luka, the pairing with Luka, that they really don't like. That could be the case as well. Which, again, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, so I'm okay with that. That's completely fine. All right, here's another one here. Austin Reaves is a starter on any team in the league. A lot of delusional Laker fans. Yeah. Or they just don't value his game, or they just don't value how he's been able to become a real player. Guys, if he doesn't get injured, he's an all-star this year. He's an all-star. Austin Reaves would have been an all-star in the Western Conference this year. So, I don't know what you want me to tell you. But the fit thing, I could never argue with another Laker fan on. If you're asking, if your argument is it's not about his talent, it's about his fit with Luka, that I could understand. Do those two guys complement each other? Well, you better have a perfect roster the rest of the way if those two guys are on the same team together. Tony says, if we're not trying to win a championship, then what the hell are we doing? Yeah, I think you just got to be realistic here. Let me put it this way. New ownership comes in. New ownership could very well be saying, I don't think this is the case, but I wouldn't be surprised. New ownership could also be saying, I don't want to use any assets this year. We're not winning a championship this year. We're not competing this year. We need a 5-year plan to figure this thing out. And by year 2 or 3, we need to be in the Western Conference Championship with a chance of representing the West. A lot of it's like it's a bad example, but I'll try to give an example. It's like somebody running a business, and their revenue was, I'm just using raw numbers. Their revenue was $500,000 this past year, but they need to get to $1 million. They're not like, well, we need to get to $1 million in revenue in the next 3 months. They're typically like, all right, let's get there in 3 years. We can get to 600 next year, and then 750 the following year, and then to 900, and then we'll get to $1 million. They have this, obviously this plan of just this slow growth. Doesn't typically work like that around Lakers basketball, I'll tell you that. That, let's just say, is not the strong suit when it comes to talking Lakers basketball. Okay, at least from a patience perspective. I am going to look at some more comments, but let's start some of our NBA recap, or our weekend recap. Let's get into some of the NBA news as well, because there's a few topics that I want to hit on, and then I'll come back to the comments before we call it a day for the show. Thank you for being here, by the way. Appreciate you guys jumping on. Great. A lot of good comments here. Whether we agree or disagree with each other, it's kind of irrelevant, to be honest with you. It's more about just having the back and forth dialogue. But a lot of the comments I feel like has helped the show today. So I appreciate you guys throwing in your comments. All right, let me take a look here. Do a little weekend recap, and NBA news will kind of tie it all together. Weekend recap is presented by the Wallace firm. Like I mentioned, wallacewins.com/Sliwa, a great partner of the channel. So there was this article I was reading on ESPN this morning. 2025-2026 NBA season. What you missed, biggest storylines to watch. Okay. Kind of storylines, talks a little bit about the gambling, the this and that. All right, I'm not going to get into any of that stuff. Kind of big storylines that have happened so far this year. Storylines that will happen the rest of the way. Here is their projected rest of the season. I'm going to share this with you guys because I think you guys will enjoy watching this or looking at this with me. All right. Let me find the buttons I'm looking for. Where's the button? All right, I'm going to share my screen here with everybody. And I want you guys to look at this with me. ESPN is projecting the rest of the way. How many wins for the Lakers and who they would play in the first round. See if you guys can see this together with me. All right, let me get this up. Okay, so here's what they're projecting. That the Thunder end up with 65 wins. Then the Rockets. Denver slotted at number 3. They got the Spurs at number 4, Minnesota at number 5. Look where they got the Lakers. Number 6 at 47 and 35. That's where they project the Lakers the rest of the way. Okay, well, what would that mean? You get in that number 6 spot. You got the Denver Nuggets in the first round. Do you want Denver in the first round? Do you want a healthy Denver Nuggets team in the first round with Nikola Jokic, with Jamal Murray, with Aaron Gordon, with some of the champions that they have on that roster? I think Denver is one of the deepest teams in the NBA. The biggest question mark for Denver is going to be their health. Peyton Watson, Christian Brown, Cam Johnson, trying to think off the top of my head who else they have. Tim Hardaway Jr. they grabbed. Bruce Brown they have. They got one of the deepest rosters. Let's just say this. If this plays out the way it does, I do not feel good about the Lakers' chances in the playoffs, and I would not feel good about the Lakers' chances in the first round. Again, this is just projecting. They're projecting. I think it's an interesting article to read. They got, they're projecting who's going to win the MVP. They're projecting the 12 All-Stars in the West and the East. They're projecting all these different things from both sides. So I think it's going to be interesting to, obviously see how it all plays out. But you get Denver in the first round, I do not feel good about that. And I imagine there aren't too many Laker fans that would feel good about that. So that's something that's going on. It's an interesting article. It's a good read. So again, if you guys are looking for that article, it's on ESPN, and certainly spent a little bit of time taking a look at that and seeing what it could potentially mean for the Lakers. Let's keep going. Let's keep moving in the NBA. Kawhi drops 55 last night against the Pistons. Lakers got the Pistons coming up tomorrow. Was it a career high for him? Scores career high 55. Well, I don't know what's going on with the Clippers, but I do know since they beat the Lakers, they've now won 4 games in a row. They're playing better. They're trying to put themselves in a position to just get into that play-in tournament. They're on the outside looking in. I think they're trying to catch Portland, if I saw that right. Kawhi shot 17 of 26 from the field and hit 16 of 17 from the free throw line, playing in 39 minutes. Ty Lue, he's finally getting healthy and finally being able to play enough minutes to be very effective. When he's healthy, he's one of the top guys in the league. We've been able to see that of late. Pistons, by the way, have lost a couple games in a row, and they got the Lakers tomorrow. So I don't know if that's good news or bad news, but doesn't seem like great news. 2 more quick NBA stories. Mark Williams and Jose Alvarado. Did we actually see a fight? Punches were actually thrown. Each of those players, Jose Alvarado suspended 2 games. Mark Williams suspended for 1 game for their roles in a fight during the third quarter of Saturday night's game. The NBA announced the suspensions. They actually kind of went at it. I got to be honest with you. Jose Alvarado kind of overreacted a little bit. That's all right. Jose Alvarado is kind of one of those types of players in the league. I'd love to have him on the Lakers. Get a little bit of freaking fight while he just sits there and not able to offer anything to the Pelicans, because God knows where that franchise is going. But we actually had a little bit of a scuffle here. Punches were actually thrown. Alvarado doesn't give a flying F how big Mark Williams is. He's ready to throw punches. Last thing I got in the NBA, and then we'll hit real quick on the NFL, and then we'll call it a day. I'll look at some of the comps, call it a day. I don't know if you guys saw this. Giannis Antetokounmpo, late in the game against the Milwaukee Bucks, or against the Chicago Bulls. You guys can tell me how you guys feel about end of game stuff. He decided to do a windmill dunk when the game was over and nobody else was playing defense. And I thought his reasoning for doing it was honestly made no sense to me. But let me read what he did. Basically what happened, he does the windmill dunk at the end of the game. A lot of the Chicago Bulls players didn't like that he did that. They were no longer playing defense. There's 2 ways to look at it. if you're Giannis Antetokounmpo, yeah, do I feel like you need to do a windmill dunk? It's kind of one of the unspoken rules in the NBA. I think it's dumb. I think it's lame, to be honest with you. But if you're the Chicago Bulls, all right, just play defense and you don't have to worry about that. Or go catch him at the as he's going to do his windmill and put his ass on the floor if that's what you want to do, if you find it disrespectful. Here's what Giannis said after the game. He said, we're 11th in the East. Got to keep finding an identity. And if that's to get a little bit of scrappy at the end, so be it. We're not champs. Why should we play the clock out and have respect and fair play? We're fighting for our lives right now. Basically, what he was trying to say is, he said, I've been in the league 13 years. If we keep on losing, probably half the team not going to be here. We're not going to make the playoffs. I really don't care. At the end of the day, I just want to be available, be healthy, and help my team win. And if a windmill dunk is what has to happen for everybody to wake up and understand we're fighting for our lives and we got to get our hands dirty, so be it. I don't know if a windmill dunk at the end of the game is going to turn the Bucks season around. And I think if that's how he's trying to send a message to the rest of his team, it doesn't make any sense to me. If I got to be honest with you, I think Giannis, I don't even understand Giannis anymore. I think a lot of the storylines around Giannis, a lot of the messaging that he has, a lot of the quotes that he has out there about wanting to get traded, not wanting to get traded, it's kind of getting annoying to me. It's kind of getting old to me. If Giannis thinks the way he's going to wake up his 11th place team in the Eastern Conference is by doing a windmill dunk at the end of the game, that's what's going to wake him up because the Bulls got upset by him, then I don't know what to tell you. But go do your thing. And if that's what you think is going to help your squad, phenomenal. I don't think that's going to be the answer. I don't think everyone in Milwaukee is going to remember the time that Giannis decided to do a windmill dunk at the end of the game to piss off the Chicago Bulls to change everything. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they go on a 10-game winning streak. What the hell do I know? Final thing I got here, just a quick recap. NFL scores. How good is the NFL right now? Rams got the Falcons tonight. Very important game for the Rams as well. They're 11-4. They're taking on the Falcons 6-9. Was the last game the Rams played the one against the Seahawks with the 2-point conversion? I think it was. So a lot riding on the line here for the Rams tonight. Some of the games around the NBA or around the NFL last night, just really good games. First off, you had a really good game on a Saturday between the Texans and the Chargers. Texans win that game 20-16. Ravens beat the Packers. Feel bad for the Packers, man. They can't be healthy. But Ravens, they set themselves up. They got a game on Sunday Night Football against the Steelers coming up. Whoever wins goes to the playoffs. It's for the division, and the division winner will make the postseason. So a phenomenal game there. A lot at stake there. That's because the Steelers lost to the Browns 13-6. Some other good games yesterday. The game everybody was kind of talking about, and it was a phenomenal matchup. Two games, actually. Eagles beating the Bills 13-12. If I'm right, I know they were down 13-0. Bills came all the way back. I think went for a 2-point conversion and missed it. And then 49ers beat the Bears yesterday 42-38 in just a complete shootout. I think the Niners have won now 6 in a row, 7 in a row, whatever that number is. But they're right there neck and neck with the Seahawks and with the Rams. So a lot still riding, a lot still at stake, and just a phenomenal end to the season here in the NFL. So no real surprise there. Let me read a couple of the comments. We're going to call it a day, and we'll go from there. Wow. Path to Engineer gifting out 10 MVP memberships. My brother, very, very kind of you. I'm looking forward to these 10 new members coming on my show. When am I going to do when should I do a show? This week, what am I doing? When should I do a member show? I'll get back to you guys. Either maybe Wednesday morning I'll do it. Even though Lakers play freaking late against the Pistons, maybe Wednesday morning I'll do a member show. Let's just say Wednesday morning I'm doing a member show. Gifting out 10 MVP memberships. Thank you, brother. That's very, very kind of you. Very, very kind of you. Thank you very much for doing that. Much love to you, brother, and happy holidays to you. Let's go back. Let's look at a couple more comments before we get out of here. Let's see. Go Birds. Let's see what else we have here. All right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna calm you down a little bit. There's a lot going on with guys. Let me just say this: you don't have to go all caps. You don't have to go all caps. I can read these. Pistons are going to reveal JJ's bluster from Saturday. His sophomore coach needs to stop the deflecting and take responsibility. That I don't completely disagree with. I don't completely disagree with that. I really don't. I think there's a little bit on his back that he's got to do a little bit better of a job on. Star a game like that. Giannis made a dumb call there. Yeah, what's Giannis doing? I mean, is it just me, or honestly, the guy? I think he's kind of hurting his own image in the league. I want to get traded. I don't want to get traded. I mean, I don't know what he's doing with the Bucks. The Bucks are idiots for not, I think, trading him last summer and getting the absolute most value. Why'd they stretch Damian Lillard's contract? Why'd you go out there and get Miles Turner? Just rebuild. That's what they could have done in the summer. They could have went and got top-notch talent from any of these teams out here. That team would have had Giannis for at least 2 years before he can opt out. I don't know what the Bucks are doing. I really don't know. And then, like I said, Giannis kind of looks dumb in this whole situation. All right, let's see what else we got here. And yeah, listen, if I'm the Chicago Bulls and I don't want to see it, I'd have put him on his ass. I really would have. I would have put him on his ass. And I'm talking about the windmill. But I don't think any of them thought the guy was actually going to be windmill dunking to end that game. So, are we ever going to have a meetup? Yes, we are. We're going to do it at Harris. So I'll tell you, I know I'm going to be doing a post-game show from there and a morning show from there. So, yes, we'll coordinate it and we'll make it happen. They got a brewery there as well. So, yes, we will be doing a meetup. And for all I know, I could be doing something with 570 that is a event as well. Okay. Last thing I got here, and then we're done for the day. Thank you again, brother. I appreciate the gifting out the 10 memberships. Much love to you. Thank you to everybody. Phenomenal show on a Monday. I appreciate you guys always just kind of chiming in and hanging out. I'm back on tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Thank you very much for being here. Lakers got the Pistons, so we'll do a post-game show tomorrow night. And then we'll plan for Wednesday morning to do our next MVP member show. Thank you, everybody. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday. Hope everybody's still enjoying the holidays. And I'll see you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m.